We are sitting at a price here of 71,463 Canadian for a 2026 Traverse RS all-wheel drive. All right, everybody, I've got a 2026 Chevy Traverse RS here in polar white tri-coat. Now, with the Traverse, they've done a redesign, I believe it was a couple years ago, and honestly, they have changed it. You know, it looks completely different from what it used to be. I mean, even just like 10 years ago. And I gotta say, it looks good. So let's start right here at the front. I like these LED daytime running lights, and then these are actually your lights down below here. Now, as we carry over to the middle, we get a kind of honeycomb grille here. We've got the blacked out Chevy bow tie there. We can see we got the RS name there on the driver's side, and then a camera right underneath that bow tie. As we carry down below on the bumper, we can see we've got all your parking sensors there. Now, it's got a clean look, and the RS trim is going to carry a lot of black around it with black 22-inch wheels, which we'll go over. Overall, I gotta say, I think it looks pretty good. So that's really it here at the front. Let's take a look underneath the hood and go over the engine option. So taking a look underneath the hood here of the Chevy Traverse RS, we've got a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. We got 328 horsepower and 326 pound-feet of torque paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I think this is where Chevy should have put the V6 because it is a big vehicle. And now I feel like you're kind of slowing down the vehicle's power. I mean, I'm not saying turbocharged 4-cylinders aren't the way to go, but I personally don't believe that in a 3-row SUV that I would say is pretty big should have a 4-cylinder turbocharged motor. You know, 2.5 liters not that big, and I know it's got a decent amount of power, but I just prefer a V6 in these 3-row SUVs. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, but that is underneath the hood here of the Chevy Traverse RS. Let's take a look around the Chevy Traverse and go over its options. So taking a look around the Chevy Traverse RS here, we'll start with the tire and wheel setup. We're sitting on a 22-inch blacked out wheel. 275/45 R22 is the tire size. And then as we can see, we got the blacked out Chevy bow tie there. And we are sitting on a Continental tire. Now inside, we've got a carpeted liner here. We aren't sitting on air suspension. We've got that kind of blacked out liner that carries around the car as we can see, which I think is a nice touch. We've got a blacked out mirror cap here with a camera right underneath to encompass your full 360 camera. And then this is what a side profile view of the Traverse looks like. And honestly, I think it's a beautiful looking vehicle. For a 3-row SUV, it's a nice sleekness to it and a cool sportiness kind of attribute to it, which I'm sure that's what they were going for with the RS trim. We can see we got the Traverse name there at the bottom of the door panel. But the nice thing is it's got keyless entry on all 4 doors, which is amazing. I still think that all vehicles, especially when you're paying a decent amount of money, should have keyless entry on all 4 doors. All you do is push the button to lock it and push it again to unlock it. Now hopping inside here, we've got a soft touch door panel here with some red inserts, as we can see. Lock and unlock with your window control. Then we've got Bose speakers down below. We can see we've got the Chevrolet name right there on the door sill. And as we carry over to the seat, we've got the RS name there, and then we've got some red inserts with some red stitching and white stitching as well. We got your automatic seat adjustments there, and then that red insert carries a little bit more into the dash here with some red stitching. But overall, the dash looks pretty big. Not too much going on, I would say. We also got some more storage underneath there, so that's nice to put some bags or whatnot, your purse. And then we've got some red stitching carried throughout the whole interior there. So overall, it's a nice seating arrangement there and a lot of room. Now here's what the back looks like on the passenger side. So we only get a little bit of red stitching here with some kind of brushed aluminum. All soft touch here, which looks good. Door handle, window control. Then we got the Bose speaker down below. Nothing here on the door sill. And then here's what this seat looks like. So again, a little bit smaller of a headrest here, but we get some red inserts there with some red stitching and some white stitching. Now these are heated, not ventilated. They only are heated, which you can control via these climate control features here. So you get a 120 and then you get 2 USB-Cs, and then you can control the climate. Give you guys a look of how I would fit back there. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", and I'll show you how to move the seats forward and back. All right, people, I'm going to show you how I would get back in here. So very easy, you know, to get in and out of. I mean, you've got the handle here, worst case. You can recline the seats too, so that's a nice thing to add. I've got a ton of room here. You know, it's very freeing. You know, I don't feel claustrophobic. You can open up the panoramic moonroof, and that'll help with a little bit more light inside. You've got cup holders here too, and you've got this slot here, so if people need to get in and out of the 3rd row, you got that area. Now, to move the seat, really cool, there is a button right here, and you push it, and the seat will just come forward like that. It's that simple. And then you're able to obviously get into the back there if you can't go through the middle. So that's obviously a nice touch. And then what you want to do to push it back to where it was, you just got to kind of heave on it a little bit, and there you go. But very, very easy to get in and out of, and there's a ton of room. So that is that. We'll shut the door here, and then this is what the back tire and wheel looks like. Again, same tire size and rim size. You've got that carpeted liner inside, and then there you have that black lining carried at the bottom of the vehicle. So really cool, but that's it for a side profile view. Let's take a look at the back and go over its options. So in the back here of the Chevy Traverse RS, we'll start right here in the middle. We can see we've got the blacked out Chevy bow tie, Traverse all-wheel drive on the left, RS on the right. And I really do have to say, these taillights look pretty cool. I mean, they carry over to the side of the vehicle, but just staring from the back, I think they look really nice. We've got quad-tipped exhaust tips there. You've got parking sensors. They did not hide the wiper, into the lip here. Looks like you've got a camera. That's probably for your mirror camera, and then this here is for your reverse camera. So that's probably why. I'm not sure why they wouldn't just put this camera right under here, but obviously there's got to be a reason. But you've got a rear wiper here. It's got a nice clean look overall. Now, with the right trailering configurations, you can trailer about 5,000 pounds. Now, to open up the Chevy Traverse here, there's a little button to the right of the bow tie, and it will open just like that. Now, a couple things to note here. You have a decent amount of room, I would say. Obviously, if you put the seats down, you're able to get a little bit more room. You can put the seats down just by clicking these buttons. So if you have to move the middle seats forward a little bit, you can do that. And then what you can do is just put the seat down just like that. So you have a lot more room, obviously, if you put the third row down if you're not using it, but it's very, very easy to do. Now, the middle row seats you cannot lift up. You can only push them down. But the third row, you're able to have them go up and down altogether. You do also get a little bit of more storage under here, and it is a deep pocket, I would say, so you can store a little bit more things if you need to. But overall, I mean, it's not too bad for a third row SUV. That's not, I would say, Suburban or Yukon XL size. You've got some speakers here. It looks like you've got a 12 volt, but no 120 back here. And it does look like you have the option to get a sunshade if needed be. Now that is it for the back here. Now to shut it, all you do is push the button and it will shut automatically. Now let's go take a look at those seats behind the driver. Okay, so taking a look at the seat behind the driver, we'll start with the door panel. Again, same material, all soft touch here. Just one little red stitch there. Some other kind of texture material, brushed aluminum, window control, Bose speaker. Nothing here on the door sill. You still get that button there to push. So when you push the button, the seat will just kind of come forward, and you just have to push it more forward if you want to get better access to the third row. I would say there's a decent amount of room in the third row, but again, always third row seating is always tight, especially if you're taller. Now to put the seat back, all you do is grab it and push it forward just like that. Now the seats do move forward and back too. You've got a lever right under here, and all you do is push that, and the seat will go forward or back. And then here also are your climate controls that I mentioned before with your cup holders. Now that's it for the back here. Let's take a look at the front. So taking a look inside the Chevy Traverse here on the driver's side, we'll start with the door panel. We got that soft touch material here with that red insert, memory seating with lock and unlock here, window controls, as well as your mirror controls. They are power folding, which is nice. The button here to release the trunk, and then here is your Bose speaker. You get the Chevrolet name right there on the door sill, and then there are your seat adjustments. Now when it comes to the seat, we've got that same type of design and material, the red insert there and there, some red stitching as well as some white stitching. I like the fact also that they put the RS name there in both the headrests. Now I did open up the moonroof so you guys can see, and it is pretty big. It allows for a lot more light to be inside. Now over here on the left side of the steering wheel, we've got your parking brake, drive modes, your all-wheel drive settings there, auto stop start, and then your interior light dimness. That's it before we hop in, guys. Let's take a look inside. So we are inside the Chevy Traverse RS. We'll start with the steering wheel. We get a really nice thick leather steering wheel. We've got Super Cruise here at the top. We got the Chevy bow tie there that's in black. On the left side, we've got your cruise control, Super Cruise technology, and your forward collision alert. At the bottom of the steering wheel, we can see we got the RS name there, which looks good. Now over here on the right, we'll control your front infotainment. So we do have a heated steering wheel. This button here will control your screen. So we got Google Maps there. We got your forward collision kind of distance indication. We got a clean look. And then this one here gives you a little bit more detail about the vehicle, and then obviously the date, time, and temperature. Now you do get paddle shifters at the back, and then you also get tuning buttons as well on both sides, which is cool. On the left side of the steering wheel, we've got your toggle for your wipers, and then this is your transmission select. This here will monitor your eyes when you do have Super Cruise on. Now, at the front here, we don't have heads-up display. This here is your Ford collision alert system, so a red light will beam onto the windshield once it is activated. We do get speakers on the A-pillar, and then we get one there as well. Then over here on the passenger side, there's not much going on at the top, but we do get a lower glove box area. Now over here, this is your basically 17-inch display screen, but here is, your audio, and this is where you control a lot of your stuff. So your climate control pretty much is in the screen. You do have heated and ventilated seats, dual zone climate, which is pretty cool, right? So to control your climate, all you'd have to do is push the climate button, and then this is where you would control your, dual zone climate control. Very easy to do. You have hotkeys here at the top, so what you want to do is if you want to have, your maps, audio, and whatnot all in one kind of screen, this is what this button does. And then this is your controls here. So you got camera controls, traction control. I do have to say the camera quality is pretty good. I think Chevy does a really good job of doing that. So we can get controls, we can go to music here, we can go to maps, and then this is kind of more of a Bluetooth control. But one thing that I do have to say is the responsiveness of the screen is very quick, and I find there's really no lag. Another cool thing that they've added in this vehicle is ambient lighting, so you can control ambient lighting. So a lot of cool things you can kind of go over here too. Very easy to use, and like I said, the responsiveness is very, very quick. The car will also park itself. Over here on the left side is your light control. So there is no light kind of button or toggle switch. It's actually in the screen. So once you click the light, this will turn your lights on or off. And this is your lane keeping assist, which you can turn on or off as well. Now down below here, we have on the left your push button start, your vents here, and then this will control kind of a little bit of your climate. You can control the temperature here. So while you turn the little dial here, you can see that the temperature is changing. We do here have your wireless charging pad with USB and USB-C. We've got two cup holders here, and then this here is a little bit more storage, which you can close. And then this here is your center console area. So we've got some white stitching here with a soft pad. Now when we open it up, we get a little bit more storage in here. We can take this compartment out, and it looks like all we have is a light in here, no charging ports inside. All of your charge ports are actually just over here. Now, one other thing too is when you want to control your sunroof, all you have to do is click these controls here. So you can tilt it, it does slide, and then your sunshade is this button here with your OnStar. Then you also have your sunglass holder. But that is it, guys. I think the interior is pretty nice. I don't think there's too much luxury going on in here. It's got some nice soft touch padding in certain areas. I like the fact that the dash kind of migrates itself into the door panels too. But I've got the window sticker over here. Let's go take a look at that and go over the price. All right, so we're sitting at a price here of $71,463 Canadian for a 2026 Traverse RS all-wheel drive with only the color option added. So that concludes this review, guys. Let me know what you think about the Chevy Traverse RS in the comments. Would you go with this one or maybe potentially another brand for a three-row SUV? Keep me posted. Curious to know what your thoughts are. So that concludes this review, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.